on March 10th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The meetings are recorded and broadcast online. Use the mic for clear audio. Special presentations may be scheduled by the supervisor or the board to inform the town on specific topics. When the time is determined on a case-by-case basis. The bathrooms are to my right in the hall. In case of fire, do not use the elevators. Walk, do not run. Please observe courtesy and decorum when speaking. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Supervisor Evans.
Here.
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Here.
Councilman Malone.
Present.
Councilman Perdicone.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Weiner.
Here.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
We have no comments for right now. This brings us to the department head update. We'll start at the courts and just go right around.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So we have finished our bathroom renovation project. We have made our public bathrooms handicap accessible, and they did a very nice job. And I thank Aaron and Tommy for everything that they did to help things move along. We are here today because we applied for and were granted the Justice Court Fund grant. And we just found out that we were awarded the grant Thursday of last week. So I apologize for the short notice in getting that paperwork to you. But other than that, everything is pretty much the same at the, we did hire a part-time clerk. We've been looking for a new part-time clerk for a while. Her name is Lisa Vitale, and she seems to be doing an excellent job, so we're very happy with that hire. So.
Thank you.
So in Department of Public Works, obviously we're watching the weather, but fingers crossed the white fluffy stuff is not too much longer. I said it. So with that, we're looking to spring. Obviously, we placed our tree planting order, so that gets us about 120 trees we plan on getting in the ground before summer. We also have commenced our street sweeping, and we are currently have 2 crews out starting to address the potholes and that we're getting reported. So obviously, as a reminder, you can call our dispatch office, 336-6090, or there's also a form on our website to report potholes. Please let us know and give us patience as we work through getting through those concerns. Also, we'll be looking toward getting done lawn damage, that happens throughout the snow plowing season. Also in April, we will be kicking off brush pickup. Everyone should expect a postcard with their dates coming very soon. There you go. So hopefully this week. Yep. Yep. Awesome.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yes.
So lawn damage, do people need to report that? Or that's an audit by the town?
It's both. Everyone drives their route and takes note of lawn damage, but if you have concerns, you're also happy to call and make sure. Yep. We're also looking to some events in the next month. Public Works Week is in May, and to celebrate that, we typically do our open house and equipment show at the Public Works, so that's always fun for families and such to come check out the facility and see our equipment.
Do you have a date for that yet?
I am looking at May 18th.
May 18th,
Yes.
Okay.
And then we also, Friday, April 25th is Arbor Day, so that is a celebration that we have to celebrate our Tree City USA status. As far as the projects, down at Camp Eastman, you'll see that the roofing is complete on the new cabin, as well as the siding. So they are continuing to do the rough-in and the work inside. Backyard, the grass is popping real nice, so we'll look to, that's, I would say 99% complete. We'll look to just do some final landscaping and then phase in this year the, working on the playground and band shell. And that's about it.
With
Questions?
Bellhurst, the pump station down there, how are they complete now?
They are substantially complete. The pumps are running.
They just got
And
to
landscaping
clean up.
cleanup and yeah, final, I believe next week we're doing the punch list, but it is running. We're
It's
done
running now?
bypass.
'Cause
Yep,
I know
it's
they had
running.
some emergency,
Yeah,
had some issues with it. Okay. 'Cause I
Yeah.
was down there the other day, so they got a lot of road cleanup to do down there.
We
too.
do.
That's them though, right?
Yep.
They're gonna clean it up, okay. And I know, 'cause it's winter and
Yep.
everything, but, okay. So they'll clean all that up and, okay.
Mhm.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. A couple updates on projects around town because we are actually coming into our busy season here. We do have quite a roster of projects going on. The formerly vacant Tim Hortons on Hudson Avenue that I'd been talking about for a while is now open as Aladdin Hots and Shakes. So that's a building that's been derelict and empty for nearly 15 years. So it's back in action. We're working with the businesses that were affected by the fire a few weeks ago at 525 Titus Avenue Plaza. The damage was extensive, so we're doing whatever we can do to assist them in fast tracking the rehabilitation to get them reopened. A couple of them lost basically everything, so we're working with them on that. We've issued building permits for a couple of large scale projects that I've been talking about, which just, means they're going through the pipeline like we'd like to see. The Regal Theater redevelopment, Five Below and Burlington both have had permits issued for those changeovers. And we expect Kids Empire to follow shortly with a permit. I would imagine by the end of this year, if not early next year, for those to open at the latest. We just recently received permit applications for an O'Reilly's Auto Parts on East Ridge Road. This would share a space with the current Pep Boys, which sounds a little unorthodox. It would be the second O'Reilly's Auto Parts in the Rochester area. We anticipate the demolition application to be coming forward within the next few weeks for the Abbott's at Culver and East Ridge. After talking with the developer today, it sounds like that's still on track for what we expect. And then the building permit for the new Starbucks at that location should follow shortly thereafter. They're anticipating hopefully open by the end of this year. We have been working extensively with the new owner of the Titus and Cooper, former Cooper Dell location. They are expecting new occupants in that location after receiving most of their approvals through the historic board. They're still working through a couple of items with them. That'll be a coffee shop in the Old Florist and Capone's Italian Deli. This will be their second location. They have one in Penfield. Those should open fairly quickly. The renovation, while extensive, should only take a couple months.
Been a lot of excitement about that, so that's great.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long road, but I do see the end in sight here shortly, and I'm hoping by 4th of July that corner is more photogenic than it's been in years past for the parade. We have a resolution forward for next meeting. We'll talk about it tonight for an assistant building inspector. That would bring us to a fully authorized staffing level for our budget. And we are working with the new town attorney to pick back up in the process of mitigating the blighted property at 95 Lake Bluff Road. It should be moving along again after some delay. And then it's kind of talking with the DPW commissioner here. They're out doing potholes. I've also asked my code enforcement officers to be out looking at large parking lots in our retail plazas for dangerous potholes that are going to damage vehicles. I think that's important. It's part of our town property maintenance code. We have found some fairly significant ones, and we're following up with property owners to get those fixed. That's important to me, at least. That's it for now.
I have a question. Bill, the developer for the Abbott's, who's doing that work over there?
I don't know that they've selected a general contractor yet. We've only worked with the design professionals. So,
Thanks. Yep.
Just for, I know we're gonna be going over the agenda, the short-term rental update.
yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about it now or
Just-
during that.
You could just introduce the fact that it's coming up.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. Obviously, a lot of work has gone into that. This is a shell proposal in terms of the resolution. I would like the input of the board in terms of if we go with further penalties on noncompliance, or if we just revert to the code enforcement penalties that exist now, which is how it would be based on how it's written. So that's something we really need some input on before we have a resolution to adopt. We're only calling for the public hearing to discuss whatever we decide on for next month to keep us on track.
And I think also part of the conversation would be the enforcement on that too, Bill, moving forward.
Yeah,
Very important.
those two things need to be outlined, and that's, that's something I'd like the board's input on before we put pen to paper. But I do still want to keep us on the correct timeline so we don't have to go for another extension of the moratorium.
100%.
And for anyone that's listening to this online, these resolutions are available if they want to look online at what the proposed regulation is.
That's correct. And they're always available if they call or through a Freedom of Information request as well, so.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. So in recreation, we had our March Farmers Market this past Thursday. I know both Ann and Grant were able to stop by, so thank you for your support. We had a nice turnout of both vendors and patrons, so we were encouraged by that. The next monthly market is Thursday, April 3rd, 4 to 7 in the market building, and then we will resume our weekly markets on Thursday, May 1st. So be on the lookout for that. Upcoming is really geared towards summer right now. Summer camp registration opens up for residents on April 6th at 10 o'clock in the morning. For non-residents, the following Sunday at 10 a.m. We are also currently recruiting for summer camp counselors. So if anybody knows of anyone who's interested, 16 and up, camp runs from June 30th through August 15th, and we have a week and a half of training leading up to that. So that is the commitment for a counselor. If anybody knows of anybody, please send them my way. Love to speak with them. Also summer sports, just gearing up for summer sports, softball leagues, golf, soccer. We are starting a new co-ed softball league on Friday evenings at McAvoy this year, so we're pretty excited about that too. And then Rec is getting new software in May, so we're looking forward to that turnover and integration for the new softwares. That's always fun, so that's us.
Thank you. Thank you. As far as updates, I'm working with the new town attorney to finalize looking at the contract for the expansion into the tow contract and impound lot. Hopefully we'll have that up and running by April 1st, be able to get that rolling. A little humble brag for the department. We obviously in the fall we actually were able to use the law enforcement tech grant to buy a Sotoximeter. It's an oral mouth fluid device. It's kind of like a pre-screened device for checking for impairment by drugs on the roadside test. Our department has kind of led the way throughout the, in Monroe County, we're the only one that we're actually using them. Brighton just bought theirs. But our policies, procedures have gone so well that we're getting all new sample kits to use. They're pretty expensive. They're like $30 a piece each time we use the device. But Stop DWI is actually going to be refunding us $500 worth of all new supplies. And New York Chiefs Association is actually looking at our policies to actually try and actually implement them across the state. So we've been doing really good as far as the leading. I want to say we've used the device with 11 times showing positive results, and so that's we have 5 EREs, drug recognition expert officers from in our department. So we're constantly, just by the sheer numbers, we're leading Monroe County in impaired driving and drug traffic laws. So obviously, shout out to all the officers there. Personally, I never service. That's going to be, we're going to be doing pistol shooting, reality-based training shooting, working through a bunch of different scenarios, vehicle extractions. So they teach us in defensive tactics in New York State how to take a person to the ground, subdue them, but they don't give us a lot of direction on how to do vehicle extraction safely with minimum amount of force. So on Friday, I actually have one of the state instructors coming in here with all of our defensive tactics instructors, and we're going to be utilizing some of the jiu-jitsu moves that we use on the ground, actually put them inside the vehicle and utilizing some of those techniques that are going to be a lot less overt than the force that you normally see when it takes to out of the car. So there'll be less injuries on the suspects, less injuries on officers, and be able to gain compliance control over subjects quicker. So really good right there. Working through personnel issues just because of FMLA. It seems like everybody is looking forward to having their first or second babies all at the same time. So we're working through those. Thank you, sir. And that's about it.
I have a question, Chief.
Yeah.
The drug awareness program. My experience has been, we got to this point, it's taken a long time to get here. But does it test the frequency of the use? I'm just curious about, that's
So-
always been the question about this.
Yeah, so the reason why this Sotoximeter that we use, like I said, it's a pre-screen, just like you see somebody on the side of the road blowing into the tube, just to kind of give them an idea. It's the same thing. Actually, this meter will actually tell you what they're being intoxicated with, between cannabis, stimulants. Actually, I think it's about 5 or 6 different substances that'll actually will give you reading. And the way we use it for our the officers who actually do the test with that. When they call a DRE in, the DREs have insisted that do not tell me if you've actually used this test, because they want to base it on their training experience, and then they can compare afterwards so that they're not so, yeah, exactly. So not influenced by it, exactly. So that's really one of the policies that we've implemented, and that's what a lot of the chiefs are really liking, because it does not influence that direction either way.
So does the test though measure like percentage of potency and
Yep.
time frame? That's,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah. So it gives us potency, and then but to be actually make that arrest, we'll have to still take him to a hospital and do a blood draw, do a search warrant that way, and do it there, so that we can get the actual.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, in the comptroller's office, we're starting our 2024 annual audit today with Bonadio. So we'll be working on that over the next month or so. We've been working to prepare the paperwork and the documents for our bond sale, which will be on March 26th. And we are preparing for the upcoming CDBG program year. The applications were due back to me today, so we'll be reviewing those and coming up with a plan to present to the board.
In the clerk's office, we're just continually collecting taxes. We have seen a substantial increase in passports. Normally we do 2 or 3 a day. We're doing 5 or 6 a day now. So if anyone's out there listening, make sure you call to make the appointments. And then it's just business as usual.
Great, thank you.
Just to refire back to the Madam Controller, you're, Councilwoman Cunningham, you still on board? Okay, all right,
Yes, thank you.
all right. Does anyone else want to join that committee or from the board? Okay, thank you. Mr. Attorney?
So last week, I met with a number of staff members and have a task list a mile long, and I'll be working to tick those off here shortly. And I know we're under some deadlines. There's a whole bunch of things that we need to accomplish, so I look forward to working with everybody to get those accomplished. And don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions, but I've got a big pile of materials to get through, so thank you.
Thank you. Madam Controller, remind me, do we have a financial report? We're going to do that on the meeting.
I apologize to the board, I do not have a financial report prepared. I will email it to the board later this week.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have some minutes to approve.
So the minutes were handed out at the meeting today, so we'll just have them reviewed and vote on them for the next, at the regular town board meeting.
Okay, thank you. We have some board agenda items to review for our March 18th regular town board meeting. Madam Clerk, can you read the first item?
We have two public hearings set for the regular town board meeting. The first public hearing would be on the matter of amending a text amendment to Town Code Chapter 235-69, fencing for the code of the town of Arundecoit, with a resolution adopting a local law to amend Chapter 235-69 on the code of the town of Arundecoit.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This is in regards to holding a public hearing resolution for amending Chapter 235-69 of our fence code. The proposed local law was referred to Monroe County Planning, and they issued their review as a local matter under referral number 25001. It was also referred to the Planning Board. They issued a positive referral regarding the text amendments with, let me catch up here, sorry, comments, provides considerable clarifications for zoning board, planning board, town residents, and guidance to the town, addresses areas of the code that were silent in the past. Adding new sections on waterfront properties would be additionally helpful regarding New York State DEC regulations. With regards to seeker, this is not an action subject to the seeker review, and this resolution would be putting forth the amended local law if you guys so choose to.
The waterfront recommendations that they had, did that have some merit? That's something that you need to add to the law as proposed?
It did.
All right.
It did.
It is
So
in there.
will we see amendment to the law before the public hearing, or?
It should be in the handout that you have.
All right, so that amendment was,
It was already added in there.
all right.
Yeah,
good.
so the waterfront specific, we're after getting feedback from the DEC and challenges that we've faced in the past. So this brings us in line with the most recent DEC changes to waterfront. And then, the rest of this is after taking into account feedback from residents, feedback from staff, feedback from applicants. This just makes it a lot easier, a lot more clear, and a lot less ambiguity.
Great.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
The second public hearing would be at 7:36, number 2, on the matter of a special use permit to construct 6 duplex garages on premises 5324, 5334, 5340 St. Paul Boulevard and 8 Second Street in the C Business District. The resolutions, the first one would be a seeker resolution regarding the seeker compliance regarding special use permits for the redevelopment of 5324, 5334, 5340, St. Paul Boulevard and 8 Second Street in the C Business District. And the third resolution would be approving the special use permit for 5324, 5334, 5340, St. Paul Boulevard and 8 Second Street.
Thank you. This is in regards, the first resolution is in regards to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Staff would like to offer the town board this as an unlisted action with a negative declaration. Attached to the resolution is parts 2 and 3 that were completed. The second resolution is for the actual approving of the special use permit, which is a permitted use upon your approval within the C Business District. This also was reviewed by the planning board, and they suggested a positive referral regarding it fulfills part of the requirement for the need for housing at the town and state level, and that it fits the characteristics of the neighborhood. It fills 3 vacant parcels similar to the use of parcel with an existing structure, recontributes to the tax base, submitted a helpful review of how it meets the comprehensive master plan, and adds a mix of housing for new residents. They also wanted to ensure that the current resident that is currently located there is properly relocated, and they look forward to reviewing the drawings during the planning process. Monroe County also has submitted a referral under referral number IR 25002. And this is the approval of the resolution if you so choose to.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 1, under appointments, resolution authorizing the provisional appointment of an assistant building inspector.
Yes, so we've talked about it in the past. So we have a vacancy for an assistant building inspector, and after somewhat of a delay in receiving the applications, we did form an interview committee after the civil service competitive list was canvassed with no viable results. The committee came forward with a positive recommendation for Mr. Kyle Gutzmer. Mr. Gutzmer is someone who has a college degree in building technology and meets the minimum requirements set forth by civil service for the position. He also has a background and experience that lends itself for the attention to detail that we're looking for in this position.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 2, calling for a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend Town Code Chapter 235 regarding short-term rentals.
Explanation?
As discussed earlier, this is a resolution for calling of the public hearing to propose a new local law regarding amendments to Town Code Chapter 235 to establish a new definition to the Town Code and create a new local law adding to Town Code regarding short-term rentals. This is the calling of a public hearing on April 22nd.
Any questions or comments?
Do you want me to read it? Read the local law? It's short.
I think at the meeting would, not right now, but I think like a brief outline of what we're going to do at that meeting would be good before the public hearing, or is that?
We can set forth, yeah. I mean, like I talked about earlier, the important thing is, number 1, to discuss what's already written, and then number
Right.
2, to discuss the enforcement and the penalties associated with that.
Yeah.
To really, put some teeth into this if that's the direction the board is looking to go with it.
One of the things I'd like the town board to consider, I think, is written for 28 days currently.
It should read 29 days. I'm not sure why that
29
added.
days.
Yeah.
Do we want to consider either 60 or 90 days, a greater period of time to define what a short-term rental is? That'll prevent any sideways, anyone from violating the law that comes close. So do we want to consider a longer period of time as a board instead of only 28 days? If there are no other questions or comments, next, Madam Clerk?
Item number 3, calling for a public hearing on the matter of granting a special use permit for the approval to construct and operate 8 new poles for small cell antennas with associated equipment in the R1 and R2 residential districts.
May I have an explanation?
Yes,
No, it was okay.
You were on.
Hello? Okay, sorry. So, yes, thank you. This is another resolution for calling of a public hearing in regards to the construction and the operation of 8 small cell antennas with associated equipment. This is through Crown Castle. They have submitted 8 applications to the town board and 8 applications to the planning board. A special use permit is required for all of these locations, and I will read them so we have them for the record. 122 Mayfair Drive, 7 Leland Road, 10 Lake Terrace, 233 Pine Cut Crust Drive, 123 Windale Road, 123 Mount Clair Drive, 119 Pinecrest, and 221 Briarwood Drive are all in the R1 and R2 residential districts. And like I said, it requires a special use permit. And this is the calling of a public hearing on April 22nd, excuse me.
Have the residents all been notified?
They will 10 days before the public hearing. I'll send out public hearing notices, both for town board public hearing and planning board public hearing. So it'll be received twice.
Okay. And
Go ahead, Ann.
I was just gonna say, so we have the addresses and the resident that lives there. So just for process. So then they notified 10 days before they can come to the public hearing and voice their opinion.
Correct. They can come and speak at the public hearing. They can submit a letter in writing to the Planning and Zoning Department, my email, if they so choose, or email or write in.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, or show up.
Okay, great.
So some of the documentation in the packet is basically illegible.
Okay, I have hard copies upstairs, should you want them. I
I just like something I can review.
it was scanned, I was having trouble with the new scanner, so I apologize about that.
I mean, is this indicative of what,
Yeah, these are 5G or similar small cell towers. So it's not a standard cell tower that you think of. These are small boxes on the top of a pole.
are these fed underground, or is there overhead wires fed to them?
It could be either one.
Either way.
Yeah, it
mean,
depends on the
I mean,
design
it's a
of.
difference. There's not showing any feed here, which would be something I think people need to consider.
Is there a height limitation for those?
The poles are 40, aren't they?
Yeah,
There is, and I believe it can't be over 40.
correct. Yeah,
Otherwise, it would require a variance.
yeah.
And these poles are because of the fact that there's not a pole line currently existing, RG&E pole line,
One that's sufficient to support the weight of these associated technologies.
and they can't replace the existing power pole with a new pole.
That is their assessment.
That's the assessment they provide us. That's for them to come forward with this process they have to show that it meets the burden that they cannot use existing infrastructure.
And I haven't gone through all this yet, I just got this, I'm sorry, but they document that they documented whether it's satisfactory or not.
They have an engineering assessment that's attached to each specific application showing if the pole is sufficient, if it's not, why they located it where they did. So that's all included.
And I think before that meeting, we should, or at least give some outline to the public on what can be and can't be. I know with cell phone, there's things that we can and can't discuss, or can or can't control, and relate to, federal laws that relates to cell phones. We should just probably have a little bit of a primer on that for people before they start to speak on things that aren't addressable.
Yeah, we can look at some of the ones that have been done in the past and maybe share a similar.
And just a note, these are to be located in the public rights of way in front of, near, or in the vicinity of those addresses.
Right.
Not on the private property.
Right.
If you've got something that you've used before and you want to have me take a look at it, I'm happy to do that.
All right.
The Federal Communications Act.
It's been a while, but yeah, we'll get you.
Yeah, it's been at least 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
so.
So they're gonna wanna do all 8 of them though, correct? They're
We're
not gonna
doing them all
wanna-
as a ticket. It's.
Yeah, it's all together, all
Yes.
8 or none, or
Yep.
whatever, okay, so. So these property owners, like what Ann was saying, do you know if they even know now? Have any idea?
It's unclear. We haven't shared it with them. I'm not
Okay.
sure if somebody was there,
If they looked on the
investigating
agenda or
the-
anything,
yeah.
okay,
We have not sent anything out yet.
all right.
We'll
And then
follow
you're
what.
gonna do neighbors too, the neighborhood?
Yeah,
right?
I'll do, it's usually like a 500-foot radius for special use permits. So it's a big mailer that'll go out.
And then they'll come
for each.
they'll be here, obviously Cass will be here to
Yep.
explain it and why and all that.
And they'll have a rendering, I'm sure, of, a visual, I'm sure.
We'll make sure that they bring
We'll-
something.
we'll
Yeah,
It's
talk to them
important.
and make sure that
People know
we
what
get-
they're looking to have in their front yard, or,
yeah. They'll be able to answer the technical questions.
perfect.
And there's also the public hearing signs that they picked up last week that have to be posted at each property. So I did notify DPW that they will be posting signs in the public right-of-way, which is usually not permitted.
I mean, just looking at the documentation, I mean, the engineering firm should be able to provide you original PDFs of it, which should be completely legible rather than trying to scan a document.
Yeah, we only have the hard copies right now, so we can ask him for electronic.
Right.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 4, resolution authorizing a series of balanced appropriation transfers within several funds of the 2024 operating budget.
We have an explanation?
Thank you. This resolution would authorize transfers within the 2024 operating budget. This is an annual process that we do at the close of each fiscal year.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 5, authorizing the use of fund balance for a police vehicle.
Thank you. This resolution would authorize the use of fund balance for the purchase of a police vehicle. This fund balance would come from, actually, the 2024, the police received insurance recoveries for a damaged vehicle. That insurance recovery came in too late in the year to amend the 24 budget, so we're asking to amend the 25 budget to allow those proceeds to be used for a police vehicle.
Any questions or comments?
The total cost of the vehicle?
The-
The reimbursement, does it cover the total cost? I just,
Several reimbursements make
Okay.
it, yeah.
thank you.
Madam Clerk, next item?
Item number 6, authorizing the attendance to the 2025 Dog Control Educational Seminar.
We have an explanation?
Sir, yeah, this is for our animal control officer, Scott Donahue, to attend the 2025 Dog Control Educational Seminar. It'll be presented by the Webster Animal Control and New York State Department of Agricultural Markets. It's going to be held at the Webster Fire Hall, and it'll be, I think it's a 1 day or 1 or 2 day training, but it goes through every year, and it obviously keeps them up to date on what we need.
Great that it's local.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 7, declaring surplus items and authorizing the auction or destruction of said items.
We have an explanation?
Yes, sir, it's for taking one of our undercover vehicles. It's a 2004 Mercury Mountaineer. Yeah, it's the cost of repairs are far exceeding what the vehicle is worth, so we're going to try and get rid of it.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 8, authorizing attendance to the 2025 Bavona Child Advocacy Center Child Abuse Summit.
Yes, this is for one of our investigators to attend the Bavona Child Abuse Summit. It's a yearly training conference, obviously, with our one the investigator that's associated or assigned to the FBI Crimes Against Children Task Force. This is obviously much needed training, yearly updates.
It's great to have expertise in our community from which we can learn and draw, so, and
Yeah.
this is one of our partner agencies that we work very closely
Yeah,
with. so.
we actually have 2 forensic interviewers in our department, so it's nice to have that resource.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 9, authorizing attendance to the Red Dot Instructor for Pistol-Mounted Optics Certification put on by the Excelsior Training Group.
Yes, sir. We have started our phasing in of going to Red Dot Optics for our pistols. Great for older shooters like myself. They work really well, and obviously having this capability on our pistols, we want to make sure we have a lot of great firearm instructors. We just want to be able to get them all certified for some of the unique challenges for operating one of these sites.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 10, authorizing attendance at the New York Association of Hostage Negotiators 2025 Annual Conference.
Yes, sir, this for four of our officers will be going to this. 2 spots are free because one of our sergeants is actually on the board for the New York Association of Hostage Negotiators. So we'll be sending 2 officers there, 2 of our negotiators, just to kind of keep up on their skills and learn some of the newer techniques that might come out, and obviously to network for. It's local here, put on right in Rochester, so easy enough. We don't have to worry about travel or expenses for that.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
We did have a walk-in, so it'll be number 11. It's with courts. Authorizing an amendment to the 2025 operating budget of the Justice Court to accept a grant from New York State in the amount of $27,800 for scanning and shredding court documents and files.
So as I stated previously, in October, we applied for the annual Justice Court Fund grant, and we asked for 2 things. They granted 1, which is destruction and shredding of documents. I don't know if you've ever been up in the attic of this building, but the court files up there are quite extensive. We're required to keep most of our files for 25 years. So considering that we have 3 judges and we usually have 1 box per month per judge, we have quite a few files up there. This will allow us to at least make a dent in what's upstairs. They have technology now, so they can scan all the files. They put it into the computer somehow so that our clerks can still retrieve the documents if they need to. So then we can apply to the Office of Court Administration to destroy the files, even though it hasn't been 25 years. So we were granted $27,800. I believe that will take care of about 50 boxes, which doesn't seem like much, but it does take it. And then we will apply year after year to get more money from them so that we can get the files away from the attic.
Thank you.
And we are okay waiting to vote on this until next week?
We are.
Okay.
Item number 12, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for design and installation of a solar panel system and electronic vehicle charger upgrade.
Have an explanation?
Yes, this is we went out for an RFP to install solar panels and a replacing of the EV charging station here on the town hall campus. And the solar panels would go on the farmer's market building. So we reached out to 6 vendors that would do this work, and we received 2 back. So we're holding those interviews this week. So I will let everyone know before next Tuesday after we conduct those interviews.
Resolution says there's a member of the town board that's on the evaluation committee. Who is that?
That's me.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep.
So, NYSERDA's giving us $125,000 towards this?
Correct.
What, do you have a budget right now? Do we have
We
ballpark?
we got NYSERDA as well as we have other grant opportunities through DEC and such that would help offset this cost.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah.
wait for the total cost at the bid, when they come and bid it, okay? So the companies you got, they design and install?
Correct.
They do both?
Correct.
Question regarding the current chargers we have? Who maintains them? We get that question in the clerk's office all the time.
We do.
You do?
Yeah.
So if it's not working, they can, okay.
Yep. That's why we're working on replacing it.
Madam Clerk?
Item number 13, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract with Game Changer Solutions for umpire services for town-sponsored recreational leagues at McAvoy Park.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This will allow us to move forward with our annual contract for umpires for our competitive senior and adult softball leagues at McAvoy.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 14, authorizing polling place agreement with Monroe County Board of Elections.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This will allow us to work with the Board of Elections at the community center to allow the community center to be a polling site for both the primary and general election. So that is June 24th and November 4th, 2025.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 15, authorizing the acceptance of gifts for Arundecoit's Winterfest celebration.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This resolution allows us to formally acknowledge and show our appreciation for the many donors and also volunteers who participated in Winterfest this year. Without those folks, we couldn't make it happen. So for all sponsors, donors, and volunteers that helped with Winterfest, we appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 16, resolution approving the special event license for Point Pleasant Firemen's Association Sportsman's Raffle number 32.
May I have an explanation?
So this is their 32nd annual Sportsman Raffle. All approvals have been are in, and we're just looking for approval for this.
Any other resolutions? Okay. We added a section in January that's just kind of a relaxed section because there wasn't a place in our structure for the board to freely ask questions of the department heads. Does the board have any issues, concerns, or projects that they want to see from the department heads in the future? Thank you. Our upcoming meeting is,
Before we move on, there was a walk-in that has board action,
okay?
okay? Resolution authorizing the supervisor to authorize new recreation rental fee schedules.
Motion to adopt.
I move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
I do believe that this was one that was rejected in the system with no comment, and the board felt it was important to bring this forward because it does tie up work that needs to be done for the summer.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, this resolution came to the board in January regarding all of the rental fees that the Recreation Department oversees, including at the community center, at various different entities throughout town that we oversee, including athletic field rentals. When we did put this information forward to the public, we received some feedback from some of our youth sports league administrators who simply said it wasn't necessarily that they had an argument with us charging a fee, but that the turnaround time for them was not realistic because this information got to them in January, and many of them had already set their registration fees, et cetera, for the 25 calendar year. So my recreation supervisor, Chris Chavez, and I did meet with the group of leaders for the youth sports leagues in the town of Arundecoit and did discuss with them their concerns and challenges. And Chris and I did take it back to the table to look at a way that we could make this amenable for the folks in town. So this is the amended fee structure that we wanted to bring forward to the board. We have had conversations with this group since then about that we would be bringing this information to the board today, and we're looking forward to resolution so that we can move forward with booking fields for those folks.
One of the issues was that the community members brought up was that when we rent Camp Eastman, they are forced to rent the cabins also, and that was a bit too expensive for them. So I wanted to have this conversation at a later date, but we can do it now, to remove that requirement for town residents. One of the issues that we had with the fee structure, Mr. Attorney, was that some of our structures were amounting to gifts to residents, which is illegal for a town to give away. So that's why I want to kind of review this more in depth and talk to the town attorney on it to make sure that it fit the gift definition and it gave some relief to town residents to reduce their costs for usage.
So that's not a part of the amended fee structure. It's also illegal for us to just gift
Town residents.
space to certain entities and not everyone. So that's why we wanted to do it through the resolution process instead of having individual comments with different, or conversations with different leagues and offering different options for different groups, so.
Thank you for your work.
I appreciate you
Yes,
reaching out
and
to
so-
the residents
Yeah.
and listening to their concerns.
So you met with the groups and sat down, and then you decided, you came up with this, okay,
Correct,
very
yep.
good.
We met with them twice. We brought this to them just over a week ago, and everybody was content with
Perfect.
this resolution.
Thanks for that new information. That brings us to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Our regular town board meeting is March 18th at 7 PM. The next workshop meeting is April 14th at 4 PM, following our regular town board meeting for April 22nd. This concludes our workshop meeting for 10 March 2025. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.